Sheriff Todd Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Judge near the Supreme Court awaits for me alone, without a jury, without a prosecutor present, without a witness box for testimony, without any evidence of a committed crime. My name is Christopher Chichester. This is the Freedom of Information Law, dated today, October 20th, 2022. I'm going to read every one, and then I'm going to place this in the mail, registered mail, return receipt, and you refuse to comply with every one. This specifically, precisely, is why you're fanatics. The fanaticism of you, Todd Baxter, requires you to ignore every single one of these Freedom of Information laws or called FOIAs. The fanaticism of you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, requires you to ignore every single one of these Freedom of Information documents. The fanaticism of you, Alex Renzi, wherever how you want to exchange, requires you to ignore every single one. I need this to me thinking, and I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to you. Switching sociopaths. You know why? Because this is the receipt from the United States Postal Service here. Your names are on it. This one here, it's not anywhere. This District Attorney, this is the first one I have October 14th. And it comes back to me. These are cards that have my back, and they're signed for. And this one here says MF on September 29th. So these are not in any order. I didn't place them in any order before I started. And when I look at it, so you received on October 14th, September 29th, and you refused to comply. This specifically precisely why you're corrupt and why you're fanatics. I also sent it to you UPS, where it was tracked. Pardon me. I put one of these on the floor. I have papers here, and what I'm doing to you. I don't take rock paper, but this here is UPS. Falsely method because I'm demanding what's the defendant here. Raw at 2025 Penfield Road. Now you listen to me, you party switching buffoon, Todd K. Baxter. Why do I know his name? Elliot Raw. I should never know the name of this guy. I'm walking through the park lot for the 4,000th time. He works for a business called Consumer Insights. And he's standing outside with this gruesome smile. And he says to me, quote, "You're going to be arrested," end quote. And I have no idea what he's talking about. And he knows I don't know what he's talking about. Why does Elliot Raw at the 2025 Penfield Road, you're copying on this Elliot Raw, say that to me? He knows you put a camera on that building called surveillance device. Think about the best possible lie, even though I've already seen the images. And I've sent you photographs of this fucking contraption. You disgusting, sickening sociopath, Todd Baxter. Is that private technology from 2025 Penfield Road, Elliot Raw, or is it a camera you bought with public taxpayer dollars? Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, what's the answer? I hadn't existed in that stone cold silence. I'm going to read you here. Has been tracked by the United States Postal Service, where it arrived on September 26th. What I'm going to read is tracked by the United States Postal Service, arrived on September 29th. What I'm going to read here was tracked by the United States Postal Service, it arrived on October 14th. Tracked by the United States Postal Service, it arrived on September 27th. So, and also, back to UPS, and this is UPS 18. What I'm going to read here, this is Todd K. Baxter, UPS. It says Paul C. Metro. This is Alex Renzi. I'm demanding from him the name of the prosecutor in his New York State Supreme Court that doesn't talk. How am I in jail, Sandra Doorley and Todd Baxter, when a prosecutor doesn't talk? What would Mary Baxter think, you party-switching sociopath, if Kevin Baxter's in jail 6 times without a prosecutor talking in court? What would Mary Baxter think if Zachary Baxter was in jail 6 without a prosecutor talking in court? What would you think if you went to go see Kevin Baxter in jail with your wife Mary Baxter? And Kevin Baxter says to you, as you're sitting in here in the jail, just talk court. You don't have the ability to understand the obliteration of life, Todd Baxter, because you're a fanatic. what I'm going to read to you, James P. Mullen Jr., was sent to you because it was tracked by UPS. And also, again, this is District Attorney Sandra Doorley. So District Attorney Sandra Doorley, I'm demanding the names of my prosecutors for silence. I'm going to point to this with the official finger, Brooklyn, New York, you pathetic diva. It says right here, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, delivery date October 18th. So you already got it. I'm not just hoping that this arrives and placed it in irregular mail, I'm tracking it. And I'm requiring your signature, where you've signed for it over and over. And even though I'm telling you that you're corrupt, even though I'm telling you to party signatures, you're refusing to follow the law, I have here in my hand a blank registered mail return receipt. I'm going to fill this out. And you know what you're going to do? Because I can see demand information from you, you will refuse. I'm going to fill these out. If I send it to you, if I send you registered mail return receipt, you can decide who I contacted you because this is what I'm going to tell the United States Department of Justice about you. Everything I can say here, I'll write down. Tell the United States Department of Justice. And when I contact you, there's 61 pages attached in PDF. Those 61 pages attached in PDF, I've also sent you, including where I took you warrant for my arrest by the $67,000 nauseating, sickening, corrupt hack, Shannon Meyer. I took this from responded to me. That's attached. A warrant for my arrest for walk through a park lot, it's the lunatic fringe. How do you employ this cop from hell that fell down on my backyard dirt? How do you employ $0 Michael Rather? How do you employ Siemens, who violently attacks me? How do you employ the other anonymous County Sheriff officer? It's your female employee with the Marine-style haircut and the tattoos who I subsequently saw. And I said to her when I was arrested, double jeopardy, I know what I'm talking about. I know Todd, Baxter. I said to her, you saw me attacked at once and you said because you blew both sides. This is what happened. I'm walking to the old Jimmy Fair. I don't know being followed. You're past fanatics. I run the pharmacy entrance. You're converge upon me. So Tom Baxter, just like a public library, when I stand up at the computer and Siemens runs at me, clotheslines me, I'm not trying to escape by just standing up, and I'm not going anywhere inside a library, and I'm attacked by Siemens. So when I arrive at the pharmacy entrance, you're 5 vehicles, and you're 10 plus fanatics, including the employee with the Marine-style haircut, the tattoos, saw this. I can't go anywhere. Your employee exits his vehicle, knocked me down, head slammed against the concrete. Including a female employee with the Marine-style haircut and tattoos, who saw this, and no one will disclose the identity of your employee that violently attacked the pharmacy and 2157 Road. I had to get an MRI, and when I was in the MRI tube, my head was pounding from behind because of the ferocity with which it was moving. And the technician that did the MRI kept saying my first name, "Don't move your foot." I know my foot was moving. I was billed for this. I'm billed for MRI after I'm violently attacked by one of your fellow fanatics, Todd Baxter. You refused to disclose the blue ones. Silence and violence defines you, you disgusting, nauseating, sickening criminal, Todd Baxter. Every single inch of you is corrupt. Every single inch of you is fanaticism, which I'm going to prove right now on October 20th. Freedom of Information Law. My name is Christopher Chichester. I've never committed a crime. The internal disclosure documentation of the Montana Sheriff Todd Baxter has determined sheriff's office. Do you need clarification about language? It's just clear as what many of you about a disciplinary process, such as for branding deeds. Your employee committed a robbery on Ladder Road. Do you discipline your employees? If you discipline your employees, there is a record of it, and that's what I'm demanding. Because if they violate the civil and constitutional rights of innocent citizens in public, like what happened to me at Wegmans at the Penfield Public Library, then when I demand such disciplinary records, they should be disclosed to me. And you're going to exist again in that stone cold silence of fanaticism. Todd Baxter. Same thing with the Queen, who doesn't know what political party she's supposed to be in. She'll say anything. The internal disciplinary record documentation employs the Montana District Attorney's Office Sandra is disciplined, terminated the County District Attorney's Office. Should discipline, terminate a man, assistant district attorney who doesn't talk in court as the defendant is delivered to jail. You have been at that nauseating, repulsive criminal district attorney's office for 30 years, right, Sandra Doorley? When you were in court as an assistant district attorney, did you talk in court when the defendant was present? Did you make an argument that the defendant has committed a crime? How am I in jail when an assistant district attorney doesn't talk in court? How am I in jail six times an assistant district attorney either doesn't talk in court or is not even present? You refuse to close the prosecutor's silence because you're corrupt, Sandra. I'm particularly interested in the boy who Grisina Harper described to me. She said to me, quote, "The prosecutor's not backing down. This is the 5'2" boy who I have seen his likeness, but I don't know his name. This specifically precisely why you're corrupt and why you're a fanatic. I can see this boy right in front of me. He was in his public proceeding in Penfield Town Court where he didn't talk, and I delivered to jail. So what's his name? Of your health prevent you going into the office and working? Does the prevent you from understanding plain legal language, the freedom of information law? Does Perry Douglas, the deputy district attorney, function as the de facto district attorney in Monroe County? And this is what I'm going to demand you answer when I contact the United States Department of Justice about you. Freedom of Information Law. The names and salaries of every public employee at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Todd Baxter. Freedom of Information Law. The names and salaries of every public employee at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office. District Attorney Sandra Doorley. This is the fall I hope will create rage with the media and citizens of Monroe County, because this is standing 40-hour work week. So how do you pay your employees when that 41st hour is worked? You refuse to answer because you're fanatics. You refuse to answer, you're going to exist in that stone cold silence of corruption. Total cost of overtime, time and a half, well paid beyond base salaries calculated at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Todd Baxter. Please be paying your $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 employees $100,000+ with overtime. They could drive around in their vehicles doing nothing. They could drive to a designated spot and sit there doing nothing. Just like your employee who is on stood right there, and there's your vehicle right behind. What does your employee do on Main Street alongside Wegmans? Danny Conley Wegman owned one of the finest businesses in the state. The employees inside Wegmans too. This is the most popular business in Monroe County, and for what reason? Because you're a fanatic, because you're corrupt, because you're totally indifferent to what your employees do at Animal House, that is the Monroe County Sheriff's Office. Same for the snakes and suits. Total cost of overtime, time and a half, well paid, unpaid salaries calculated by the district attorney's office of district attorney. So you have your assistant attorney who's not in a vehicle. Your assistant attorney can sit there at that at 47 cents and accumulate overtime in the 41st hour. So how's that done? I'm going to change this language and I'm going to write, send a list of your top 10 overtime earners or your employees that are paid time and you'll still refuse. So fanatics, you're going to exist in a whole silence of corruption. You pay your employees at the 41st hour. When I was an employee in Washington, D.C. as a House of Senate staffer, no overtime, your salary was salary. Everybody knew it. When I was an employee in Albany, worked with the majority leader government, it was compensatory time, where you didn't receive any money. You take time off and work on a campaign. Your compensatory time accumulated. I wanted to some type of mechanism where you pay your employees any sum of money for the 41st hour, or you give them benefits when the 41st hour works, like time. answer. What are the answers? And your response, Sage Doorley, Todd, Baxter, is that I should be arrested for the madness accountability of you. Have you, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, ever been sexually harassed on the job at the District Attorney's office or elsewhere that you may have worked prior to the District Attorney's office? Do you know what sexual harassment is? It's a man asking a woman how to date over and over. No. It's a man touching a woman at the office. It's lewd, vulgar language. It makes it impossible to have you experienced that, Sandra Doorley? Perry Duckles, the Deputy District Attorney, has anyone at the District Attorney's office ever come to you and assert that a male was sexually harassing a female? This is 99% of the time a male doing it. Julie Hahn, true superwoman at the District Attorney's office. Have you ever been sexually harassed at the Monroe County District Attorney's office? Female coworkers will confide in female coworkers, and they will state things to female coworkers they wouldn't say to males. So, Julie Hahn, are you aware of another female being sexually harassed in Monroe County District Attorney's office? Another female come to you and confided in you and said that that female employee was being sexually harassed. True superwoman, Julie Hahn. Cost taxpayers of Monroe County District Attorney Sandra Doorley apply with Title Civil Rights Act. I'm walking through this parking lot. Next to 2025 Penfield Road, and Elliot Roth is outside, who works at this business, Consumer Insights, and that's the UPS for you, Elliot, where you're going to get this, and you've already seen documentation from it. There's his name right there, Elliot Roth, Consumer Insights. You can't see, but it's there. That's how the justice. You're sitting there, sick of the gruesome smile. You go to the rest of the you know, I don't know. Camera surveillance device on 2025. Is that private technology for your business, Consumer Insights 2025? Or county sheriff's office come to the road and fix it? Was there work on the side of that building? Beyond here again, with the high resolution for this packet, I'm going to hold this up because what you have done to me, Todd Baxter, is use Lindsay Office of Mental Health humiliating, because you know that there are citizens in pain that are truly mentally ill who believe in their surveillance. Over and over. The first time you lied about it, you will still lie. Todd Baxter. The simple reason that you, Todd Baxter, lie. Just like you'll lie about this. Is this a private event for Animal House, the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? I think about the language I'm going to use, and I use certain language because I strive for accuracy. I was on, I believe, your Facebook page, where I saw a picture of 10 Monroe County Sheriff's Office in the world. I mean, Animal House. We want people to know that employees are underwater and for what reason. So this is a project that has nothing to do with the taxpayers of Monroe County. Then you could say information law. If you guys are expending taxpayer dollars to take a photograph of your 10 public employees underwater in the pool, I guarantee when I contact the controller of the state, have more questions for you, because you're taking this picture with taxpayer dollars, you 10 public employees underwater in the pool. You're doing other things at the sheriff's office that are ridiculous and absurd. Todd K. Baxter, did you expect taxpayer dollars to take this photograph? It's a private event that has no taxpayer dollars for it. If I repeat some of these, it's because corruption requires repetition. The cost of taxpayers for time recession approved by Monroe County Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, photograph of 10 Monroe County Sheriff Office employees underwater in a pool. And who are they? Do you know the names of these employees? If taxpayer dollars were expended to take a picture of your 10 Monroe County Sheriff's Office employees, who's underwater there? Is $131,000 Corey Brown underwater? Does Corey Brown earn more money than you with overtime, time and a half, Todd Baxter? On one page of the payroll, do this for me, you had 12 employees you pay $100,000 a month. How many employees? Because I believe how many total employees are paid more money than you with $132,000 with overtime? This specifically, precisely is why you're corrupt, because you're existing at stone cold silence. Is Ryan Fisher still employed at the Monroe County Sheriff's Office? The phrase junket has been in the political lexicon, I believe, for 50 years. Because public employees, where I worked in Albany and Washington, D.C., would love to go from Albany, legislative office, to Saratoga. You would hear stories about public employees like for landing Saratoga, which is a beautiful area. Well, somebody who is a New York State Assembly employee, New York State Senate employee doing a Bolton landing, it's a job. Public employees, when I worked in Washington, D.C., to go to Northern Virginia and Alexandria and Arlington and those areas for either conferences or other events, and retreat. We have to get where they would go to Northern Virginia, congressional employees. This would make me laugh because I would look at some of my fellow coworkers and I would have the highest level of respect for them, given their careers. And some of these employees, like on the Appropriations Committee or Ways and Means or Armed Services, have been worked on the Hill for 25 and 30 years. And I would hear about these retreats, and I would think, what's the congressional staff or House Senate staff or have to go to Northern Virginia to get in touch with their feelings? And it's just ridiculous. All it is talk. And my boss, his name is Congressman Morris Smith, didn't go to any of these retreats, and he ordered our staff to stay away from these type of events because he didn't want to be embarrassed back home in San Antonio in the media or anywhere else, especially with the Washington Post, because he was the chairman of the House Subcommittee on Courts, and there were 5 subcommittees. He was a subcommittee for a committee that big. And he wanted to avoid a public relations spectacle of his employees being where they shouldn't be. Are your employees where they should not be? Sandra, Doorley, and Todd Baxter. And you refused to answer. Like with Ryan Fisher. The cost for a hotel and plane ticket for Monroe County Sheriff's Office employee Ryan Fisher attended the Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia, was a dog low on February 3rd, 2019. I believe that there are only 2 states that are polar opposites to me. That's Georgia and Alabama. They are really fundamentally different than New York. Same period of time, 2 years and 4 months. And I've been around citizens of the South in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, and Clarksville, Tennessee, and it's not New York. So here he is, your employee in Atlanta, Georgia, where the culture is different, where it took until 2003, the state of Georgia changed the flag. It's no longer that revolting stars and bars. So what's Ryan Fisher doing in Atlanta, Georgia, Todd Baxter? How do you explain to the people of Monroe County that you expended taxpayer dollars to send him to a cost hotel? Or is this a private event? What are the answers? And the hypocrisy of these, you demand answers either from cases, any number of situations require you to ask questions. You better receive answers. But when the answer is that stone cold silence corruption. In the United States Army, there's a physical training test, which has changed over the years because I looked at what it is last month, and it's different. It used to be push-up, sit-ups, 2-mile run, 300 points. It's not that anymore. There are different things. But a PT test. You have no physical training test. There's nothing whatsoever. All you have to do, all any citizen has to do with Monroe County is look at your overweight employees to know that there is no physical training test. And if you fail a PT test in the Army, you're what's called as flagged, where you can't travel, you can't get a award, you can't get promoted. You're effectively really not in the military when you're flagged. And you don't have any physical training test. Since you don't have any physical training tests, you also don't have any bureaucratic mechanism to flag someone who fails it. But you don't have any bureaucratic mechanism that's the equivalent of a flag that's discipline. Because it's Animal House at the sheriff's office. What are the physical training standards and requirements at the Montana Sheriff's Office? Sheriff Todd Baxter. You have none. When I acquired the payroll, I went right for Michael Radler's name because I believed he was double dipper. It said 0. Do you pay Michael Radler private money from your campaign accounts you created in 2017? Do you pay Michael Radler private money from your campaign accounts you created in 2021? Do you pay Michael Radler any sum of money to be in the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office? Are you disconnected from any type of compensation from Michael Radler and another party or individual such as campaign Radler money? 40 work week, it's on the office $0. Private money fund Michael Radler to Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. The name in charge of revenue in the Montana Sheriff jail from October 2022. I'm wondering violence. It's how simple and basic is to prevent violence in Montana County Jail. When I was at jail, there was a man that jail once. He walked around this area of the jail. It's really nice for the main of the jail. And he would talk to himself. And he would walk in front of my cell and talk to himself back and forth. And he would walk back and forth in front of a cell I was in 50 times a day. So one day, I'm sitting there eating a meal, and this man is going back and forth to himself. And so as I'm looking ahead, I see this man walk past me, and he's talking to himself loudly. And then about 20 feet in front of me, another inmate turned and said to him words to the effect of to be quiet or shut up or something. And they had this altercation, and the man that told this man, who was talking to himself, to be quiet, attacked him right in front of me. And they fell down on the floor, and a fight started. And this is the thing, we were locked in there. There's no Montgomery County Sheriff Office employee inside this area. And it took about 60 seconds for the steel door to be open while they fought on the floor in front of me. And then it was broken up. And there was about 5 or 6 employees that got there immediately. And this is a real fight where they're both fighting. And one thing that really annoys me, because I saw this happen in Livingston County Jail, is when one inmate beats another, and then it's described as a fight. This was a real fight where they were fighting, when they were exchanging punches. It's not a beating. It's not an attack. It's not an assault. That's the other thing, party switching stooge. I'm going to send you another Freedom of Information law. I demand to know crimes at your jail, not fights. I don't care about a fight where 2 guys square off and it is a real fight and they both land punches and that's a fight. I'm talking about a violent assault at your jail where one jail inmate attacks another jail inmate and that's an assault that meets the terms of assault under the law. You understand switching stooge. There's a difference between assault and attack. I'm not talking about fights. How many assaults, attacks, crimes, assault, attacks, exist in corruption? Free name saying specific corrupt, you can exist in total silence. How do you explain the United States demanding names that don't talk in every single one of my court appearances refusing? How am I in jail when a prosecutor talks? How am I 6 times when a prosecutor doesn't talk court or doesn't record? What sickening noise file the case for charge us for court was the name the prosecutor said Doorley. Documentation for the case for was the name of the prosecutor Doorley. The case for Christian Justice for Renzi and States Supreme Court and prosecutor Doorley. And you skinhead up on extremely sorry about the death of your husband, Baxter, a widow, alone, with your 2 dogs in Pefferton, New York, where you have no one. I hope that drives you up the wall. A list of defendants in Pemberton Town Court for Paul C. Metzler. You see this over and over and over, including on the UPS. Here, where it says, right here, there's your name, Paul C. Metzler. We're demanding a list of defendants. This was sent on October 3rd. This specifically precise is why you corrupt Paul C. Metzler. Just Paul be nominated for the court and enfeeblement is not far off. Enfeeblement. This Jermaine attack snaps my head back. I'm charged with harassment sex in the backseat of Andrew Reality police vehicle. I go to jail for I Hatfield Town Court. Because I've said this previously on YouTube and on an app using right now. I contact the Department of Justice. I watch this. This is what you did. You endorse James. You believe in violence, James. So Jermaine Benman violently asked me in front of you when I get this PM. Your court employee came to the meeting. Christopher Chichester, I said yes. She ordered me out of the courtroom. That's because there's a deal between Jessica Wagner, the district attorney's office, Jermaine Benman's attorney, and you to allow him to go free. Because I didn't leave your little star chamber of Pemberton Town Court. I sat there. I see Benman walk in. In less than 5 minutes, he walks out. He's a free man. This is a violent attack upon me, James Finelli Jr., where his fist landed with such force, my head's back, I had a problem with my neck, and I go to the medical center, and they recommended I go to the hospital. So there will be a record of me going there. Excuse me, the urgent care on Penfield Road. I want to be precise. I went to the urgent care on Penfield Road. They said, you need to go to the hospital, and I decided I didn't want to. That many have been to the hospital. Hours the pain sign. I was on the cusp of having to go. The physicians James Jr. You free this violent Jermaine Benman with Jessica Wagner, district attorney's office, who I believe is no longer employed at the district attorney's office. And I do not have certainty about that, but I'll attempt to have certainty right now. Perry Douglas is Jessica Wagner, the defense attorney for Jermaine Benman at the Monroe County District Attorney's Office, still employed at the District Attorney's Office. And just like your boss, Sandra Doorley, you, Perry Douglas, are going to exist in that stone cold silence of corruption. A list of defendants in Pemberton Town Court for John P. Lomenzo Jr. That'll include Daniel Last III. His name sounds like James Jr. John P. Lomenzo Jr. released an accused child rapist because he has a relationship with the family. He doesn't recuse himself for the appearance of Daniel Blouse III. You know, he knows the family. It is sickening what is in there in that Penfield Town Court, and this is not a list of defense. I have not opened that. I'm demanding a list of defense, and this is what you send me. A list of defense is going to be 200, 300 names. That's not. So you just got it again, and you will again refuse. Please send me this again, please. So, I bought this again because it's raining. It's ridiculous. I just I'm not going to be sleeping outside because I've got it all my life. But I did buy this because I was sleeping in my car. And when I just read you, what you received already, you saw this. Son, that's I'm going to send this to you. You get confirmation that it's received. But I read you. I'm attempting to contact you on YouTube. It's attached in PDF. Now at 34 minutes and 52 seconds. I demand the name of the and you will disclose those names. It's possible because you send your prop conviction integrity unit. What does your conviction integrity unit do? Do you have an employee at the district attorney's office that you designated to or conviction integrity. Because claims of innocence. What's the step? I know the answer. Because I believe the better citizens like me who are being sentenced to jail when crime doesn't talk to court. I don't have the arrogance or delusion. This is happening. Domination and Penfield Town Court, New York State Supreme Court, respectively. So, conviction, integrity, unit. That's your 1984, you party switching diva from hell. How'd you come up with that name? So, Sheriff Todd K. Baxter, District Attorney Sandra Doorley, Judge Alex Renzi, Paul C. Metzler, James C. Mullen Jr., Penfield Town Court. My name is Christopher Chichester. I'm innocent man.